Hello and welcome to the Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. Glad to have you in with us today, right here on NAC TV. I'm Eoin Devereux, news reporter with the Banner Press, joined this week by Kira Paterson, news reporter as well with the Banner Press. Kira, good to have you in this week.
Good to be here.
It's a bit of a short week for us as well. We are filming this a little earlier than usual, though you will be seeing it on your normal scheduled times right here on NAC TV. But because of Remembrance Day and it falling on a Thursday this week, a lot has changed. A lot of the schedule for us putting this paper together really shifted. And then of all the weeks, Kira, where it could have changed and things could have been altered like this, it had to choose this week, didn't it?
They always like to choose the time-sensitive days.
And for those of you that might be out of the loop on that, although I'll be genuinely surprised if you are, the reason we say that is because of the front page story, the story everyone in Nipahwa is talking about. Actually, it's amazing how this story has developed and changed even as we sit here and record this. Talking about the Nipahwa Health Center has been closed to the general public. No visitors, no non-emergency cases are going to be allowed in right now due to an outbreak of COVID-19 which has hit the facility. We learned of the story over the weekend. It was a lot of hearsay, a lot of rumor. We did a lot of chasing to get that information, contacting Prairie Mountain Health. They were very forthcoming with the information in a prompt manner, which was very much appreciated. Their report to us, and you'll see it in the story on our front page, was 15 cases total. 13 individuals who were patients and 2 staff. And we went to print. We had to go to print early, actually, due to some technical issues with our printer. They unfortunately requested that we go to print a few hours early. And being efficient as we are, Kira, we met that deadline, didn't we?
Heck yeah, easy peasy.
And then unfortunately, some new news dropped. So it will not appear on the print version of the paper, but it does appear on mywestman.ca. And if you're on social media, you can find it. We put a link up on Facebook there. The province of Manitoba, as of Wednesday, November 10th, had reported different numbers. They had reported 16 cases for Nipahwa Health. 1 case overall doesn't seem to make that much of a difference, Kira. But what was interesting, and let me get your take on this, what was interesting was the difference between the patient numbers and the staff numbers, because the province is reporting 10 patients and 6 staff. And we're trying to track down just which, has this been altered? Has there been changes? What new information has come about? We're trying to track that down right now. Unfortunately, we didn't have it before our deadline. And sometimes that kind of sucks about having a weekly paper, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. Well, and we said this right from Monday, like, oh, this is big news. Too bad we don't go to print right now and have this news out for people before it's already in the rumor mill and people kind of hear about it from here and there and wherever. We want them to see it on the paper. That's where we want people to get their news. So
the one fortunate thing about that, even though I'm not a big fan of social media, quite honestly, if I didn't have to keep it for work, I'd have deleted my Facebook a long time ago. But we were able to get the story written and get the story out to you via social media, Twitter, Facebook, and the like. And in the back end, it keeps all the information. We had about 1,800 different computer hits on that story in less than a 24-hour period. So 1,800 different computers had their eyes scoped on that, which is great to see. It shows that people are paying attention. Yeah.
And it's nice to see that they're going to our website to find this news.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and in terms of, you mentioned the change in the numbers from what Prairie Mountain Health told us and what the government website has online. And I'm curious if it's more about semantics rather than the numbers actually changing, because the way that Prairie Mountain Health put it was patients and staff. And the way that the government put it was staff and non-staff. So it could be that Prairie Mountain Health had reported that some of the staff as patients, like maybe some of the staff were admitted to the hospital because of their COVID-19, so they considered them as patients rather than staff at that time. But because they are staff, then maybe the province reported them as staff. So in that way, we're really curious about where the numbers changed and how the province has 16 and the RHA has 15, and how they're kind of the 10 and the 6 and the 12 and the 3, or the 13 and the 2.
Yes.
And so it's in terms of that, we are hoping to be able to chase that down and be able to give you some answers for next week, definitely.
And if you're curious about the process, I'm going to give you a little bit of the story behind the story of gathering this information. We received several tips over the weekend on Saturday afternoon from individuals, not members of the staff. I want to be very clear about that, because there's a certain process that has to be done. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus, because they were very respectful about the process and led us in the right direction. But other individuals that we knew of gave us this tip. And it was unusual, because quite honestly, I was getting ready to attend a hockey game to cover that for our paper. And I had to go to the hospital, knock on the doors, the sliding doors, and essentially ask, "Hi, are you in lockdown?" That's not exactly the type of normal question you usually ask on a daily basis in this field of work. But they said, "Hold on." So right then and there, I knew something was going on, because if you got to go "hold on" as your answer to that, then then stuff is going sideways. But they were very respectful. They said, "We can't speak on the matter at this point in time. You'll have to speak to a representative through Prairie Mountain Health," which we did, and they were very prompt and courteous and very forthcoming with the information, as they should be in a situation like this. When you hear the term outbreak, a lot of people do get a little frazzled. They do get a little freaked out about something like that. But unfortunately, with what's been happening the last 19 months with COVID-19, it just feels like it runs around in cycles, and it feels like we were overdue for this to hit us in this manner. But again, you still got to be very careful, I think, in a situation like this.
Absolutely. Another interesting thing was that they had confirmed, yes, we do have an outbreak declared in the hospital, but they didn't have the numbers for us right away. So all of us in the office are kind of speculating, like, we know that you need only one case to technically declare an outbreak at a hospital, 1 or 2 cases, and there's an outbreak. So we thought, well, maybe there's only 1 or 2 cases. Maybe it's like an outbreak where there's like 50 cases, who knows? We were all kind of thinking, oh, it's probably on the low side, because it's just Nipahwa, like it can't be that crazy. And then we heard the numbers, like 15 cases in Nipahwa hospital, and it's like just out of nowhere over a weekend. Where did that come from? So there was a little bit of speculation in the office as well before we did get all of the details, but luckily we did get all the details in time.
Because let's be honest, Nipahwa, for a fair degree of this situation, has been kind of sheltered from the worst of it. I know people who live in the city who have had to deal with so much stress and strife throughout all of this. And when you're in a rural community like this, you're a little insulated from that. And this is the reality of it. So hopefully those individuals that have and are dealing with COVID-19 right now at the health center, hopefully they're going to be able to get through with a minimal impact, and hopefully them and their families will be able to progress beyond this. Yeah. All right, so we will have additional information, I am very sure, about this in the future. One other thing as well, actually, before we move on, you will find this in the story, but I just want to be very clear on this. Visitors, non-emergency situations, not at the health center at this time. If you have an emergency, you still will be admitted. The individuals that have COVID right now are in an isolated wing. Everything's been looked after. Everything has been cleaned up. All right? So if you have an emergency situation, you can still go to the Nipahwa Health Center and feel no fear on that. So hopefully everyone will just keep their head about them, and we'll be able to get through this situation promptly. All right, let's shift over to some other news, some more news we were sort of expecting to be covering the week of Remembrance Day. Neepawa Middle School we're very graciously, and we were very appreciative of this, sent us a bunch of pictures of some of their students doing something fantastic down at the Neepawa Cemetery to commemorate those who served, Kira.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is something that they've done every year for the past few years, but it's a really good thing for them to get into and to just connect with our past. The grade 6 students at the middle school in Nipahwa went to the Riverside Cemetery and placed crosses and poppies in front of all the veterans' graves there. And it's just a way for them to kind of connect and to kind of honor. Obviously, they don't have school on Remembrance Day, so they have some time to think about it then. But maybe this experience will be something they reflect upon during their day off, rather than just go and play video games because it's a day with no school, that kind of thing. But it's definitely an important thing to get across to the young people, because as time progresses, the two world wars get farther and farther in the past, and people kind of lose track of what actually happened there. So
yep, because you do have to remember, and this is over 70 years ago, World War II. I mean, that generation, those individuals who served and honorably for so many different nations, they are slowly dissipating, and it's important that younger generations like Kira's and like myself,
sure,
technically I'm a younger generation from that counts,
true.
remember and respect the sacrifices that were made. The ceremonies will be going on Thursday, November 11th, obviously, and we will have full coverage of those in the next edition of the Neepawa Banner Press. That'll be the one for the Friday to November 19th. Yeah. All right. But let's keep focusing on Friday, November 12th edition of the Banner and Press. The Chamber of Commerce in Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce, has had to come to a bit of a difficult decision. Corresponded with the town of Neepawa on this, and it has to do with the Parade of Lights. But fortunately, from the sounds of it, Kira, they're going to come up with an even better idea. Parade of Lights, unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions and regulations and all of that stuff, which is quite honestly just so tiring to have to go through, it will not take place this year. Just the legality of it, the crowd sizes, it's frustrating. I'm sure it's very frustrating for you that it won't be happening. It's frustrating for me that it's not happening. Kira, you're from out of town. Did your family, did they ever come in for the Parade of Lights?
When I was younger, we used to, yeah. We always got that free candy that they threw out, but now they're not allowed to throw it because it might hit someone in the eye. But anyway. Yeah, exactly.
And when they drive by Davidson, it might fall into the mud. So,
yeah, true, exactly.
But because the route is pretty much, the route as well is a little messed up, but it's because of COVID that's not happening. But they got a great solution for that this year, and hopefully the downtown businesses will actually step up and make it a reality. The Festival of Lights. Let me throw to you, Kira. Talk to us about what the Festival of Lights is all about.
It's kind of in my opinion, it's a really good alternative to the Parade of Lights, because with the Parade of Lights, they were asking businesses to decorate floats, and then the floats would go through the streets as people would sit and watch or stand and watch as the lights went by. But now they are, instead of the floats, businesses are being encouraged to decorate their storefronts and their front windows and make almost like a winter wonderland. And so instead of people standing and waiting for things to drive by them, they can drive by the businesses, stay nice and toasty warm in their cars and their heated seats and whatnot, and see all of the twinkling lights and the Santa Clauses and all of the pretty garlands and tinsel and all that kind of thing. I think it's going to be amazing if all the businesses in the community get on board. It'll just be absolutely magical. They're going to have a bit of a contest. They usually would have a best float kind of contest in the parade, but now they're going to have a best business display, and they'll get a prize for that. So I think that this is a really good way to kind of swap out, still keep the Christmas spirit, but be able to do it in a COVID safe way where they don't have to worry as much about all of the restrictions and following this, that, and the other thing and all the administration involved with that. It makes it a lot more easier to get in the Christmas spirit rather than worrying about rules, right?
The really nice thing about it as well, Kira, is that we're going to be able to enjoy this for more than just a day. We'll be able to enjoy it throughout the entire holiday season, but only really if the businesses step up and do their part. And since we, the Neepawa Banner Press and NACTV as well, are sort of on that route that you'd think, I guess that means we're going to have to put up some lights or something there.
We're going to have to get creative, I suppose.
Man, all right. All right, you got to go up on the ladder. I'm not going up on there.
All right.
No, but it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and if they pull it off, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be something the community can be very proud of. Having said that, we'll wait and see. Sometimes this town is a little too wait and see. It's like, all right, if you guys can do it the first year, maybe I'll get involved in the second year. And no, let's have some fun with this. Let's put some work in and let's get her done.
Yeah, all the effort that you would have put into making your float as awesome as possible, put that into the front of your building and into your window displays, and then it'll be just as great or better than the Parade of Lights.
That's right. It'll be great to be able to take a bunch of pictures of all these businesses. And, from the sounds of it, if you're a little amateur photographer of your own, and you like to take pictures like that or other things, there might be an opportunity to be able to share those in a new and unique way. And it's all thanks to an exhibition that recently and is currently taking place at Arts Forward.
Yeah, so Arts Forward had another Manitoba-based exhibit. They change every month, so November they have a new one, and it's the Portage Camera Club. And the Portage Camera Club came and did a bit of a presentation on their kind of opening exhibit night to interested parties. And there's some interest within Nipahwa to start up a photography club like the Portage one. So if you are interested in amateur photography, taking pictures, sharing your pictures with others, getting tips and tricks, that kind of a thing, this is definitely something that might pique your interest. There's some beautiful pictures in Arts Forward. We have a few samples in the paper, but definitely go down there and check it out because you can see what the possibilities would be if you maybe decided to get involved with the photography club, because there is the potential, a very good potential for one to be starting up in Nipahwa, because there has been some interest shown because of this Portage Camera Club taking some time to set up their exhibit and explain what they do as a club.
That's right. There is so much about this story that I really like. First off, the fact that they were even able to have the exhibit and they were able to have this type of grand sort of ceremony to sort of showcase it here in town again. That's wonderful to see. The people were feeling comfortable enough that they could go and attend something like this. And it was well attended. It was very well received from what we've heard. And to see the pictures, just the creativity behind them. And to see that it is inspiring, potentially something like that happening here. I mean, it's a win-win-win in my estimation, no doubt. And once again, that's just the eye. We only got a few versions of these pictures that we have in this week's paper. So if you'd like to see the full perspective, you have to go down to Arts Forward and see it for yourself. Because as nice as these are, it doesn't do it justice. No.
Yeah, there's all types of subjects. Like, this is just some outdoor stuff, but there's abstract and there's black and white. Like, there's tons of different genres of photographs there. So what I was able to get that wasn't blurry, because I was kind of in a rush taking pictures this morning, that what I was able to get is not even close to covering all of the subject matter that they have there. It's really cool. You definitely should go see it.
That's right. Now, if you want to read that story, you can find it on page 10 of this week's edition of the Banner and Press. Just 10, not A10 or anything like that. It's the first week in a while we haven't had like multiple sections. We thought we were just going to be, skimming through the week. It'd be easy, relatively stress-free. But then news happened. But I guess that keeps us busy. And that's something else that's going to be keeping us busy is something that's making a bit of a return. The Rotary Club. Really starting to put some work in, able to put some work in, some of the restrictions being lifted and changed and altered. So an annual tradition for them in terms of a fundraiser is making a return once again. Talk to us, Kira, about the annual Auction.
Yes, the Rotary Club, their biggest fundraiser of the year every year is the annual Rotary Auction. Normally, or up until last year, it had been the TV auction. Last year and this year continuing on, it will be the online auction. So this basically they get donations from businesses in the community, and those donations of items are put up for auction, and they make money through those auction sales. And they're going to be online on the Rotary website. People will be able to see them for a number of days and bid on them. It won't be like a snap, snap, snap on the phone type of thing like it was on the TV. It gives people a little bit more time to outbid each other, I suppose, and maybe potentially make a little bit more money. But Ron Nordstrom, one of the Rotary Club members, gave me the lowdown on what the Rotary Auction is. We kind of cover it every year, but it's always good to have a bit of a refresher and kind of renew your knowledge about, oh yeah, that's happening. Oh, this is when it's happening. Oh, this is what it involves, that kind of thing. So definitely give that a read. It's on the facing page from the Arts Forward story. So it's on page 11, easy to find. But yeah, it's definitely a story we like to cover because it does make a lot of money for the Rotary Club, and that helps them in turn donate back to the community in a lot of different ways.
That's right. And again, it's online. The website itself, I don't recall off the top of my head, Kira. Do you happen to remember what the website was where if you wanted to check it out, you can see some of that information?
Yes, I just found it in the story. neepawarotary.weebly.com. That's their website. You could also just check them out on Facebook. They have a link to their website on Facebook as well, Neepawa Rotary Club. But yeah, neepawarotary.weebly, and Weebly is WEEBLY.com.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's relatively straightforward and easy to track down.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you find something you like and you're able to put a bid in on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before we wrap up for another week, we do have Neepawa Town Council. If you didn't get a chance to see it yourself, right here on NAC TV, you can get the Coles Notes version of it, as it were, each and every other week in the Neepawa Banner Press. I get the extreme honor of being able to cover that. You know, it's not all just sports and art exhibits. Sometimes you got to cover real news. So I covered that. A few items, interesting items for the long-term viability and significance of Nipahwa. Everyone's probably pretty excited about the upgrades that are planned for the Nipahwa swimming pool. Some of those improvements have been formally approved for purchase at the most recent meeting. The new water slide, they're going to be purchasing that. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. Well, for the younger ones. I'm getting to that age right now. Maybe I shouldn't be, you know. I don't think the body just doesn't deal with the wear and tear of the water slides.
You might injure yourself just sitting down on a plastic tube.
I injured myself sitting down today. So, but no, it sounds like it's great. It's a 360-degree turn on there with a 270-degree reverse turn. So you're going to be going this way, and then you're going to be going this way, and then boom, right into the trough there. So I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to be into the pool itself, but they felt like the trough system is going to work best for the community. We'll see about that. I'm sure they know what they're talking about. I mean, they went through a lot of different designs apparently to sort of see which one works best for Nipahwa, and Council is very confident that this, in fact, that's almost a direct quote from Jason Nadeau, who was talking about it, that this choice was the, quote, the slide for Nipahwa. So hopefully they are very much right on that, because I think it's going to be great to see the upgrades, and it's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, when's the last time you spent any time at the pool yourself?
The Nipahwa pool, it's been quite a while actually. I used to be in the swim team when I was in high school for a little while, so maybe like 6 or 7 years, 8 years, maybe more than that. I can't even remember. Maybe I wasn't even in high school. Maybe I was in junior high. Man, I'm so old. I can't remember these things. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've gone for a swim at the Nipahwa pool, but they do have really nice facilities there, and I can't wait for it to be even bigger and better in the years to come with this upgrade.
If you've never used rotary phones, you're not allowed to say it's old, all right?
I remember the rotary, like, kids' play phone telephones. Does that count?
No. Actual rotary phones.
Yeah.
Well, we'll do that in one episode. We'll bring a rotary phone and like a tape player, and we'll see. We'll have a reaction video of that, and then you can teach me how to program my phone.
Your phone.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can set the VCR, and you'll see if you can set an alarm on your phone.
Yes. All right. Other things that happened with the council meeting is it's a little dry, not literally dry, a little figuratively dry, but very important. The snow removal contract for the town of Nipahwa is being renewed for another year. They're going to stick with P. Baker and Rob Smith and Son. They split up the community into 2 sections. They found that it's much more efficient for them to be able to do it in that manner. And I don't know, my street's been pretty good for the most part since they've changed it up that way. Although it seems like once every year or once every other year, I end up getting stuck because I'm on First Street and I'm right near the hill heading down to the bird sanctuary. And I wasn't smart. I didn't get a 4-wheel drive on my SUV for some stupid reason, maybe because it was much more expensive. But it's happened twice since I've been in Nipahwa, and it'll probably happen again, where you're pulling out after a big snowstorm and you just slide down the hill. And then you got to gun it and try and get up the hill. And there's been 2 times I have been successful. But with the snow clearing the last couple years, that has not been an issue, Kira, for the last few years, which is fantastic, because then I get to show up for work and get harassed by you and the rest of the staff. Yeah.
It's always fun to make fun of the people that get stuck in town when us country folk are driving through like 3 feet of snow just to get down the gravel roads.
There's plenty of other updates from council members, the manager of operations, and the economic development officer in that story. So you can find that. That is on page 18. That's also, you can find out a whole bunch of other stuff. We didn't even have time to cover everything, even though it's a smaller paper than last week's. Last week's was 32 pages.
24 plus 8, yeah.
Yep, this week it's just 20, but we're still jam-packed with news. But and unfortunately we weren't able to get to every news story. There's still chases we're trying to get leads on and whatnot. But if you have news, tips, or suggestions for myself or Kira, you can contact us at news@neepawabanner.com. Or you can contact us at 476-3401. Kira's is pages@neepawabanner.com. So if you have any sports-related things, I wish I could cover all the different things like minor hockey and figure skating and all that, but there's only so many hours in the day. If you want your youngster and their sports covered, send us pictures, send us anything. We'd love to be able to put those in there each and every week. So, Kira, thank you very much as always. Always appreciate you taking about a half hour and walking us through all the work you did.
Always appreciate getting to talk about my work and getting make sure people see that I do work.
That's right. This week was actually a very Kira-heavy newspaper. So if you want to support Kira in that endeavor, you got to read her stuff. And, you know, maybe 1 or 2 are mine if you want.
Yeah, only if you like hockey and council.
So you're not going to read mine then. All right, I understand. But we always, as usual, thank you very much for taking your time here and spending it with us here on NAC TV and here on the story behind the stories. Hopefully you have a good Remembrance Day and a good week.